Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss a poem titled When Landscape Becomes Woman, written by Arundhathi Subramaniam. Let's read an introduction about the author. Arundhathi Subramaniam is an acclaimed Indian poet, writer and critic known for her evocative and introspective poetry. Her work often explores themes of love, identity, spirituality and the sacred feminine. She is also recognized for her deep engagement with Indian mysticism and Bhakti traditions, particularly through her writings on spiritual figures like Sadhguru. Born in 1973, Arundhathi Subramaniam grew up in India and developed an early interest in literature and the arts. Subramaniam's poetry is known for its lyrical quality, emotional depth, and philosophical inquiries. Apart from poetry, she has written essays and edited anthologies, including Eating God, a book of Bhakti poetry. Subramaniam has received several literary honors, including the Sahitya Akademi Award and the Rasa Award for Poetry. So, Arundhathi Subramaniam was born and brought up in Bombay. Before her post-graduation in English language literature, she became deeply involved with the Poetry Circle of Bombay. There, she developed her craft and found a writing community. Her poems were published widely in international journals and anthologies. In this poem, When Landscape Becomes Woman, Arundhathi Subramaniam presents an account of an incident that happened in her life when she was just 8 years old. One night, she looked through a keyhole into the drawing room of her own home in order to see her mother. And she sees her mother in a new light. Let's read the poem. When Landscape Becomes Woman. I was 8 when I looked through a keyhole and saw my mother in the drawing room in her hibiscus silk saree, her fingers slender around a glass of iced cola, and I grew suddenly shy for never having seen her before. I knew her well, of course, serene undulation of blue marble, serrated by thin gold bangle, gentle convexity of mole on upper right arm, and her high arched feet better than I knew myself. The writer says, when she was just 8 years old, she looked through a keyhole to see her mother in the drawing room, but she saw her mother in a dramatically new light. Of course, the girl knows her mother, but that night she saw her mother not as a mother but just as a woman. And perhaps the suggestion is that the daughter sees her mother as a woman and as a sexual being who was taking part in an adult party. The girl saw her mother dressed in her hibiscus silk saree. Her mother was holding a glass of iced cola with her slender fingers. A girl's awareness about parties is very limited. She mistakes the drink in the glass as iced cola. It would be an alcoholic drink. The girl declares that she had never seen her in this way before, and she grows suddenly shy. She feels that she has seen something she is not supposed to see. In the perspective of the daughter, the mother acquires a new identity, not as a mother, but as a woman, as a party animal. The girl emphasizes the fact that she knows her mother very well. She admits that she knows her mother better than she knows herself. Then she gives some markers. The mulmul. Mulmul is a type of fabric. Then gold bangle, a mole on her upper right arm, and an arched foot, etc. In these lines, the girl tries to fix the identity of her mother. And I knew her voice like running water, ice cubes in cola. But through the keyhole at the grown-up party, she was no longer geography. She seemed to know how to incline her neck, just when to sip her swirly drink, and she understood the language of the baritone voices and lacquered nails and words like emergency. I could have watched her all night, and that's how I discovered that keyholes always reveal more than doorways, that a chink in a wall is all you need to tumble into a parallel universe, that mothers are women. The girl is very familiar with her mother's voice. She is as familiar with the voice of her mother as she is familiar with running water. The mother whom she had known for the last 8 years was running water. but the mother that she sees through the keyhole is very different person. Ice cubes or frozen water in cola. The difference between the mother and the party animal is exactly like the difference between running water and ice cubes. The girl thinks that as a mother she was geography, but as a party animal she becomes a landscape. Now, the girl gets a perfect picture of her mother as a party animal. The girl understands that her mother knows how to incline her neck and when to sip her drink. Now she is perfectly at home in the party as she enjoys the baritone voices and lacquered nails. The mother proves herself to be a brilliant, a sophisticated conversationalist when she goes on talking about emergency. This new kind of womanliness around her mother seems to the girl very strange. Now she discovers that her mother is not just a mother but a woman, also a party animal who enjoys the company of men. This new experience, this small experience, enabled the poet or the girl to discover that keyholes always reveal more than doorways. She understood the fact that all mothers are women. So, what is meant by landscape? Landscape is all the visible features of a land and it is appreciated from the aesthetic angle. The landscape is said to be aesthetically appealing when all its parts integrate into one. The girl, looking through the keyhole, appreciates what she sees in the drawing room as if it were a landscape. But actually, it is not a landscape, it is her mother. But in reality, it is not her mother, it is a woman. There is the hidden suggestion that all the aspects of the woman integrate perfectly to form an unit and that there is a very appealing harmony about the woman. The girl feels that she is able to look at the woman and appreciate her from an aesthetic angle as if she were a landscape. In fact, she is not a mother, she is not the geography, but the landscape. The great lesson that the poem conveys through its title is that mothers are women, but it takes some time for daughters to realize this great truth. Let's read a short summary of the poem. The poem describes how a landscape, instead of being a static and impersonal entity, transforms into a woman, alive, sensuous, and full of presence. This transformation brings with it a shift in perception. The landscape is no longer just an object to be observed, but a being that breathes, moves, and exerts influence. Subramaniam often explores themes of identity, embodiment, and the sacred feminine in her poetry, and in this poem, she seems to be suggesting that nature and the female form share an elemental power. The language likely evokes the sensuality and fluidity of both, making the reader reconsider their relationship with nature not as something distant or separate, but as something deeply personal and intimate. The poem may also hint at the ways in which landscapes are often viewed or controlled by external forces, but when seen through a different lens, they emerge as autonomous, powerful, and transformative. Let's see the themes. Personification of nature. The landscape is not just a setting but a living, feeling presence, much like a woman. Femininity and power. The poem celebrates the body, agency, and mystery of the female form. Transformation and perception. It challenges conventional ways of seeing the world, encouraging a more fluid, interconnected understanding of nature and self. Hope you understood the poem. Thank you.